like that.
The artist formerly known as.
What's going on, Facebook? What's up?
What's going on?
I don't know why it
What it is.
What it do? Okay, let's do this. Show 64.
I turned my
Turn your sound down, Ice. We hear you.
We're trying some new stuff with this phone, y'all. Y'all be slow with us. And we starting. Oh my goodness, was that?
Ice, was your phone dying? Is your phone dying, Ice?
No, my phone is not dying. My phone
Dave,
is not your
is
phone.
yours?
Is your phone dying?
I hope not.
That's a possibility. 10%.
Somebody grab that man and charge it.
Okay.
Another one.
He can't charge, man. He got that pigtail.
Well, when is his
It's a big- Oh man, he can't charge.
He can't charge.
Oh. All right, that's well. You know, we're gonna see how that works out.
It's been
good knowing you, buddy.
You'll be here until.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, you might want to charge your phone until it's time for him to do a spaceship. I'm just saying, like legit.
all right. Well, that's
probably
what we'll
the
do. Hopefully, it works out. All right. Yeah. Hold on a second.
I tried to
Bye.
Oh Lord, have mercy.
We'll talk to you later.
Absolutely. iPhone 7. You understand what is going on right here, right? We got things to do.
That's right.
This whole little adapter situation.
This podcast is sponsored by.
California,
Right.
100+ degrees. Barbara Cook. You need to. Hey, we gonna stretch out our hands. Send some,
We praying
send some water and some ice.
That's my
Lord, lemonade, Lord.
That's your auntie?
Oh,
Oh yeah, it's real like
lemonade,
that.
Lord. Sheesh.
She definitely needs sweet tea.
Right. Okay, yeah, we do have to start the show.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's get started. Hey, Facebook Live, it's good to see you. Share this, like it. Haven't downloaded the app, and tell all your friends, your family, your cousins,
Tell me on Android
all the baby
now.
jumpers, cousins, and relatives. Get them on here.
To hear more from the Baby Jumper, download the Freethinkers radio app. All right, we're doing this. Show 64.
Turn to your neighbor and tell him to listen to this poem.
That's right.
Oh,
Listen to this poem.
Listen to this poem.
Turn to your other neighbor and tell him
Yeah,
to
Ice,
listen
you better
to
be
this
glad
poem.
you can't say nothing right now. I want to know how you starting with some poetry and we just finished.
What has happened to us, church? Why do we do
this
what
my
every
joint.
person that stands behind
Oh, this is your joint. You know what this is?
This is Jackie Hill.
Jackie Hill, parent.
Jackie Hill, Jigaboo. Church Jigaboo.
The truth hurts, but I'm
That's the name of the song?
Yeah, Church Jigaboo.
Well, Lord.
thought you were talking about Pokemon.
Oh,
Turn
That's how
to
you
your
know he's
neighbor
not
and
racist.
say, "Welcome to Freethinkers Radio."
there we go.
Huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
Welcome to Freethinkers Radio, everyone. I'm Ebony Dixon, the Baby Jumper, your host for this evening.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Will.
Good evening, y'all. It's JB Sampson.
Hi, y'all. This is Dave Strum.
What's going on, everybody? Shonte Darby.
Hey, everybody. William Baker.
What's up, guys? This is Elliot, the prodigal, has returned.
Yes, he returns every now and again.
Every now and then.
We got David Pendergrass in the building.
Big DP.
I'll be the pappy.
Lord,
DP South Cat.
you have to
North Main. Google him.
Feel free to think freely. Tonight we are doing part 2 to racism and economic empowerment, which all started with the Black Expo event, and we will tell you a little bit more about that when we come back from this teeny beeny weeny weeny break. Feel free to think freely.
That's how you feel?
That's how I feel.
That was a lot of weenies. Nice to feel like we all belong here. Because we're all freaking crazy. This song right here is called Like We Belong by Darby.
We were talking about you announcing songs the other day, Jay.
Yeah, that's a special talent.
I just want to let you know, dude, you are gifted.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I
On the
appreciate that.
Like, for real.
I appreciate
He
it.
said we going to act like we
Oh,
belong here.
Sean Green, Christ Hop, what's good?
Christ hot, what's happening, homie?
There's more than just bros on here, Sean.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh.
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Hey, he talking like
Just put your hands behind him.
That's right.
he over here talking like he played for the NBA or something. You know, gotta make sure I show up to practice even if I don't do nothing.
That's it.
Talking about practice.
Don't mind me, I'm just sitting on this bench over here.
I don't practice. I only perform.
Yeah, give me a second. We're going to get you plugged back in a second.
We just had a game. You want to talk about
And
practice.
Ice is on hold. He's not here tonight, but he will be heard tonight.
Yeah.
He who shall be heard.
The question is like, can it work? Can it work? Divided.
And we're back.
Oh, we're back. Yes, we are back. We're talking about racism and economic empowerment, part 2. The last show was talking about how it stemmed from the Black Expo, and how can we be a part of a group or a part of society if we're kind of dividing ourselves and trying to do things on our own. So, so you want to explain a little bit more about that, Dave?
Right. So basically, the last time we talked about race and economics here, we basically talked about we were talking about the intake. You see what I'm saying? At some point, people were thinking that, you know, when you say it's a black business, you should only be taking in black dollars, which is very weird. Right. This is a really weird idea. But actually, you know what I'm saying, we chopped it up with with the professor from USC, and Kevin Raspberry, and they were pretty open about, you know what I'm saying, in how the intake of funds needs to be as diverse as humanly possible, which just makes mathematical sense, right, even though you see it not practiced in certain situations. You see what I'm saying? Now, I think we want to talk about today, when we talk about race and economics, we really want to talk about the real thing at the table, which is redistribution, right? So you've taken in funds. You're a business. You've taken in funds. Now, is there anything you need to keep in mind as you get ready to redistribute those funds out? When you talk about you choosing your vendors, choosing your contractors, you see what I'm saying? That I think that's where that's where the people who are a little more well-to-do, that's where they seem to feel like that's where the real rift starts to show its head, which is real funny because you think about how low education value you believe people who are racist to be, right? But if they're saying that there's some kind of, you know, racial pushback from people who should be a little bit more well-to-do, first of all, what causes that if we're supposed to be raising above, you know, we're supposed to be getting above that? Why do we still have what we would call poverty problems?
I would say that's greed.
Okay.
You know, the negative drivers, I mean, understanding the motivations behind racism, they're all negative.
Right.
Ignorance is one. You can educate ignorance. You have fear. You can try and calm fear.
Right.
But greed, you can't satisfy greed.
You just got to feed it.
And intelligent, you know, you could have educated people that are greedy,
right?
And you can't ever get enough.
Got you.
And so that, you know, how do you combat that?
I think the only way to combat it, and not to get too theological though, is the only way to combat it, greed is to give. That's the only way to combat it.
All right.
But you have to be at a certain place in your heart to see that and to be willing to take the step to give.
Well, so on the previous episode, on episode 1, I had said I quoted a movie. It's called Wall Street,
right?
With Michael Douglas, and one of the main quotes for the movie that gets reiterated by a lot of libertarians and a lot of capitalists is "greed is good," and that comes from that movie. But I don't necessarily think greed is a bad thing. Obviously, we all have a pretty negative connotation with that word, but I want to make clear there's a distinct difference between greed being I want to make money and make a lot of, like, as much money as possible for myself or for my business, versus I want to keep other people from making money, or like I want to prevent other people from succeeding. There's a difference. There's like, because the you know, the capitalist ideal is competition breeding better business, better quality products, better quality services through competition. And competition happens when you're greedy and you want to provide for yourself and like grow your business. You want to be better. You want to be, you want to earn more. You want to make more. You want to have better products that are like owned by more people.
Right.
So I want to make clear, at least from my opinion, that greed is not necessarily inherently bad.
Right. And I would say, as that goes, now when you're talking about, you know, greed is wanting more money, but unfortunately in America and in some other places too, poverty is an industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a high-paying industry.
There's there actually is a documentary on Netflix right now called Poverty Inc. And it's talking about how a lot of nonprofits and a lot of companies are making a lot of money off of impoverished communities.
Right.
It's basically we keep the money out of this community, so they have to bring their low funds to our community to fund our community, so their community stay where it is and how it is. That's how Walmart does it. That's how a lot of major industries do these. They keep certain communities down, and then they move into communities they know it's going to build up because it brings in more income.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of familiarity there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because if you think about it, if poverty is an industry, just going there, I don't know how I got there, but yeah, if poverty is an industry, and you know that you're going to benefit off of poverty, so now the people that you want to benefit off that business, that's one of those businesses that you don't want your friends and family to support you in, right? That's the business you don't want your friends and family to support you in, the poverty business, right?
I think so.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know, I would guess that's what would cause even a fear of you when you take as a father, look at my son. My son looks like me, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, so at the end of the day, who am I going to try to make sure if nobody else? You see what I'm saying? I need to make sure that he is not in the poverty industry, right? Mm-hmm. Or at least, and if he is in the poverty industry, he's on the receiving end, not the giving end, right?
Well,
does that cause
from that point? I think your family and friends wouldn't be on that level because mostly your family and friends are on the level that you are.
Right.
You know, the people that you associate with is on that class, so they wouldn't be the one that is helping you from a impoverished standpoint. They would be the one that's supporting you because it supports them. You know, in what they're doing because they're maybe middle class and higher.
Right.
But the impoverished, your friends and family are not there. And if they are there, then that's the disconnect between are you trying to help them or are you trying to benefit from them?
Wow. And does that become, and I guess if your family was in the conflict of interest, this is really getting, if your family was in there, right, with your efforts to get back to give back to that community, would there be a conflict of interest there? That's the question we're gonna talk about when we get back to Feel Free to Think Freely.
Isn't greed just lovely?
Wait,
I'm lying. It's not at all. The song is called "Lovely" by Holland. Feel free to think freely.
Yeah, because think about it. That's the poverty industry.
Right.
That's crazy.
Think about it. Okay, the poverty industry. Take it all the way back. What was the when you're buying POWs from Africans to bring them over here because you know what I'm saying, because they deal better with the climate and things like that, and they deal better with the the disease that's already here, the viruses that are already here, the immunizations are built up more. That you don't want your son to be one of those guys, right? You don't want your son in the field. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So might that be where American racism became the way it is?
Well, your son don't fit that profile. Mm-hmm. The profile that you're talking about, people, you bringing in a certain type of person to work for you. Mm-hmm. Do your son fit that profile? I mean,
well, in some situations, because you got to think about it now. I brought up the African trader thing, but you understand that Pennsylvania was over 50% German just because of indentured servants.
Right, that's true.
You see what I'm saying? So that has nothing to do with African slaves. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You have the big Irish thing in New York and all that. So I think some of them would fit the profile a bit, right?
We're back. Freethinkers Radio. Now, what was the question that you left off with, Dave?
Oh, right. So, do you have a conflict of interest? Is that it? Basically, what we were talking about in the break. We're gonna go right there. Is that how American racism got how you know what I'm saying, got as bad as it is from the fact that you want to make sure that that's not your family members, your people that you connect with in that situation. That situation is where they make a lot of money off these. These African POWs that they got in these cotton fields. They make a lot of money off that. Now, when there's a low unemployment, when you say there's not a lot of employment, but there's a cotton field with a bunch you see what I'm saying? Is there a conflict of interest when you're trying to help keep your child out of that situation? Because modern day, that would be, the cotton field would be probably McDonald's or the chicken factory over at Purdue with Tyson. It would be...
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you see what I'm saying? There are jobs right now that would equate, right?
Well, okay, so I'm gonna throw this in there. The only ones that's trying to keep their children out of a situation are the ones that's already in a control situation already. Right. But the ones, if you don't have any control of anything that brings in any any economical gain, you're trying to get your child to get whatever job they can get because you've only been able to get whatever you could get. So I don't think that would even be in the conversation. I'm trying to protect my child from being over here. You don't need to protect your child. You already own it.
Well, in retrospect to what you were asking about, like the McDonald's and stuff like that, those were never created they weren't meant to make a career out of. It was to step there, get your feet wet in the job industry and move on.
I disagree because if you don't remember the commercials from the 80s and the 90s when Calvin got a job. Calvin got a job, and now Calvin about to be a manager, and Calvin going back to the hood. This is the commercial they was actually displaying about McDonald's, that this was the best job Calvin could get, and this was the experience of a lifetime for him.
Goodness.
Again, look at the model though. Just look at the business model.
That's wild.
Commercial's a commercial. But when it comes to, I would take it a step further and say the under the table payment. That is where you have your equivalent of the cotton field worker. Those who have come into our country fighting for citizenship, but can't legally get a job, but they find a job and they're willing to work
for the construction sites that might fit the
correct.
Some.
Right. So
one of the largest industries.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would say, really the big brunt of keeping, poverty is cyclical, right? Most oftentimes it's cyclical. Obviously there's bad luck involved sometimes. I mean, it's not a clear-cut thing all the time, but the most harsh one that we always see is cyclical poverty, where like you're poor and then you have kids and then like they can't escape it. It just perpetuates on and on and on. I think some of that, like the two big factors for me as I see it is one is education and two is systematic oppression.
Right. Yeah.
So like, 100%. Constitutionally, really the Constitution as a libertarian sees it, there's only two reasons why the Constitution exists. And it's to prevent, the government serves two reasons, serves two purposes, to prevent and protect against force or fraud. So if either one of those two things are happening, that's gonna prevent, that's gonna like perpetuate that cycle of poverty. You can't get a leg up if everything's regulated. How are you supposed to get a good job if you can't become a citizen, or if you can't if there's all this government red tape on stuff? The government, quite frankly, the government's got too much control or say over what we do or how we do business. That's one thing. Educationally,
Mr. Libertarian's favorite Mr. Libertarian. Go ahead.
Tell me I'm not right. Why do I have to get a permit for something to do something when I could just as easily go do it? So, and I get it. Anyways.
Okay. There's some reasons. There are reasons.
Well, the other big issue is education.
Safety.
How are you supposed to create your own path or better yourself when you don't know where the ceiling is? Right? How are you supposed to find this new trail to better yourself when you don't know where it is? And you've never been taught how to go find it or how to go better do that. That's a big thing with West Virginia. 63, at the time that this statistic was relevant to me, 63% of the people work for the federal government.
Yeah, because obviously
no
there's not other jobs, right? Which goes back to the private sector. Oh, Phil, we'll be back.
Could get it out.
Okay, so I might have to, hopefully not have to clown ice for this one. I'm going to assume that this song is called Death Grip by Fit for a King, not Death Grop, which we have typed.
Oh, wow. He's going to throw the man typo.
Death Grop, y'all.
We're going to plug ice back in here.
Yeah, I think that's supposed to be
Yeah,
Death Grip.
that's definitely Death
That's Death Grip.
Yep, something.
Now, please explain why.
Ice, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, man. So James coming for your typo right now. We trying to figure out what's going on with
he's
them
famous for
Android
those.
keyboards, man.
It doesn't matter what keyboard he has.
Oh, dang. First he got clowned for having an Android, then he got clowned for just not being able to type. Ice, what are you going to say?
No, that's dirty. That's dirty, man. That's dirty.
So was the song Death Grip or Death Grop?
It wasn't Grop.
Death Grip.
It's Death Grip. Okay.
Death Grip.
Death Grip, yeah.
Had a feeling.
Yeah, it was,
Had a feeling.
automatic thing. Yeah, that's what it was.
I'm sorry, Ash. I needed to know.
Yeah, the bus was coming your way, and
Me.
All right, we're about to go into segment 3, and then we're going to go into your spaceship after that. All right, coming back.
I do have a question for Will, because you were talking about how there's a systemic issue there that continues to make a cycle for people who can't get out of situations, right?
Sure.
So what about people who move to the country? Because let's be honest, this country is still seen as the country for the American dream. And it seems like a lot of people can come here and create a version of the American dream. It might not be the golden streets, but they can create a version of it. Like when the Indians come here, they can start a gas station. And then, as a matter of fact, in America, most of the hotels in America are owned by Indian people. And then
large industry.
Yeah. They.
I don't know if it's most of them, but yeah, it's definitely.
I think it's like 85%. 85% of
hotels are owned by
the mass majority.
Asians?
I mean,
like South Asians.
I would say the ones that not the big name ones, not like the motels.
Okay, I don't think Marriott's
small.
No.
Small and big.
Hilton.
But the hotels and motels.
Right. Now motels, I probably could see that.
But they can come here and they can kind of bypass the systemic issues, even though there are race issues with them also when they come here. How do we look at that?
Well, I'll tell you how I look at it. Now, if you want to know.
Let's get real.
Well, here's the thing: when you talk about hotels, now you're talking about a lot of that's just franchise fee and go, right?
Right.
Franchise fee and go. I mean, at the end of the day, my people, I don't want to go there. But I'm just being realistic. At some point, there was a lie taught to our leaders of the '60s that said that if you get the political power, the economics will just follow.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? At some point, they thought that politics controlled money, but money controls politics, and politics controls the leftovers. And so, therefore, as they make the political, you know what I'm saying, as they make those large political gains, they get a larger piece of the leftovers. But then you look around, and you're living in a comparative economy. So if you're getting the leftovers, if you fought hard and now you're getting leftovers, you're looking around at people who are eating main courses, and in comparison, you haven't moved much. I was looking at a study that they compared from the 60s to the mid 80s, I think, or maybe the early 90s, and it was talking about the fact that while affirmative action and everything was being put in, the poverty levels, as far as like how many people of each race were in poverty, they didn't move. And when you talk about the average income of those in poverty, in the African American culture, by the way, it went down over 25 years. You see what I'm saying? That comparatively, the poor of that one race ended up with a lower value than the poor of every other race. We're talking about the people who live in poverty of every other race. That's very weird.
So does that apply to this? Might go back to our point to integration, because when you have more black businesses, of course, it stayed in that community for a lengthy amount of time. Versus now, I think the black dollar stayed in the community 7 minutes.
Well, because who are you going to spend it with? When you look at it, I think a problem that and I'm not trying to get in kind of bashing thing, but we take up industries that are not what I would call concrete industries. They're not necessary industries most of the time. You know what I'm saying? There aren't dominant African American construction companies. There aren't dominant you name it, utility companies, grocery stores. We don't even have gas stations. You know how many necessity industries I'm talking about just African Americans while they were fighting the political battle and the civil rights battle. How many necessary industries did they try to dominate? You dominated in sneakers, designer sneakers. You dominated in clothes, designer clothes. You dominated in music, trendy music.
Right, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You're not dominating anything that they can't just say, well, we don't need it anymore.
Well, do you think that might have anything to do with, because you brought up how, a lot of the black leaders from the 60s were led to believe that once you get into politics, you control the money. Do you think that this particular method of, I guess, ideology with getting into business, do you think that has anything to do with maybe being led to believe that the best way to go when starting a business is, the get rich quick scheme, jumping in with what's trendy.
Well, everybody actually is as fast as you can take income, you'll take it. So I mean, I get it. When you're trying to deceitfully get it fast, then it's wrong. But if you're trying to get it fast, I mean, you're getting it as fast as it comes to you. You see what I'm saying? So it's not really trying to get it fast. I think it's more about the Superman complex. Because at some point they thought that the mayor could be Superman, and the governor could be Superman, and the president could be Superman. Yeah. Or you know what I'm saying? One of these people was going to be Superman and was going to save us from from the discrepancies that when you step out into actually having voting rights. Now you're in a population of people who are used to having voting rights. That ain't nothing big. You know what I'm saying? They're used to having voting rights. They're used to have they have networks of people who are used to having voting rights. Not only voting rights, but they're used to having a voice in economic matters. They're used to having a voice in redistribution, redistricting. They're used to that. They know that they can say, "Hey, man, we need to change the district." They know to do that. Right. But when you're saying you don't know to do that, we just want to get a black mayor and let the black mayor fix it. We're gonna get a black president to fix it. No, Superman's not gonna fix it. You see what I'm saying? Because he's still in policy. He's still only in control of the leftovers, the tax money that they ain't gonna get back to you no matter where they spend it. Right? No matter if they spend more on public schools, if they spend less on water safety and environmental safety, they're still not gonna give it back to you. Right. Yeah. No matter what they spend it on, they're not giving it back to you.
I would say one thing I've noticed, especially in the inner city, most of the industries that might be predominantly black owned, hair stores, things of that nature, they don't usually build contracts with the other companies that. They don't try to build contracts with other black businesses or other business that they can prosper together with. They try to outsource it to other industries that really are already booming.
Because unfortunately, they have the resources to do it right. Already, they're not trying to get there. So that's a tough place to put. To put those businesses in. If you're, if Shonte is buying equipment for his production company, is he going to buy a guitar I made? Or is he gonna go get Ibanez? Go get a? You see what I'm saying?
100%.
He's gonna go get the people that have tried and true and tested, and have the equipment to make it happen right now and give me quality right now. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, that's where we're at. So if I was, to take a time machine or something, I guess I would go back and say, hey, why don't you start making? You know what I'm saying? Start working on it. Entrepreneurship maybe started too late. You see what I'm saying? The entrepreneurship boom in those communities started too late. And every other culture, I believe, when I look at the history of most other cultures that came here, entrepreneurship started when they got off the boat.
But also the formal entrepreneurship that started. It was also always the entrepreneurship of I'm going to come up. I'm going to come up. Not I'm going to make a business that's going to create employees. So
no, what do you think? What do we think a record label is? Well, why do you think Jewish people started record labels?
But they also own they also own the distribution companies. They own the publishing company. They own all of this. So that's what I'm saying. It was never us coming up, us coming and taking over this market. Well, it was always I'm gonna do something.
It's hard to be entrepreneurial when you're dealing with getting your own voting rights.
Yeah, that is true.
You're kind of distracted.
That's true.
Didn't stop Madam C.J. Walker.
Shouts out to the Fifth Compromise. It's gravy. This next song is called "I'll Find You" by the Crack.
That's my joint right
Tori
here,
Kelly. But no,
all right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, you up. We're gonna let you know when it's time. We got this spaceship has been being brought to you by Verizon. For real. Like actually.
We gonna get fined. Ice might get fined. This is gonna be great.
That's right.
But no, I think what you were just talking about. Well, you did make a good point as far as trying to figure out how to vote. The whole 3/5 compromise. Right. The fact that you're struggling with the idea that these other people decided that your people can only count as 3/5 of a person.
Unfortunately, that's race baiting. Bringing up the 3/5 compromise in that way is actually something that's a misconception. That's race baiting. To be honest, 3/5 compromise was to keep every president from coming from Virginia because you could buy votes by buying slaves.
Oh dang!
Wow. Didn't know that.
Yeah, that you can buy delegates in electoral college by
Hey,
buying
that's
slaves.
cool.
And the
Professor Dave,
largest
everybody.
slave owning state at the time was Virginia, and the first five out of the first seven or five out of the first 8 were from Virginia. They had to do something. And this next spaceship will be brought to you by our brother Ice.
Ice, baby.
What's up, everybody? Sorry I'm not there today, but I will be back next week. Okay, first things first, let me get this out the way. Shouts out to the Golden State Warriors. Kevin Durant got his ring.
Yeah, he did.
No matter how he got it,
That's right.
he got his ring. He got his ring.
That's right.
So, ladies, if you want to get your ring,
No matter how you
leave the
get
bad
it.
team, leave the team, and go to the championship team. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Thanks.
Next thing, if y'all remember a few shows back, there was a guy that went to a bank, robbed a bank, and got arrested to get away from his wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, he got sentenced last week, right? His sentence was house arrest. House arrest.
The backfire.
Oh, wow.
Backfired.
You staying home
Very much
with us.
so. He's staying home. He can't do nothing without her now. He got to be at home all day and everything.
Wow.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
So that goes to tell you, karma is a mother. Don't think you can get away with it. You can't. It's going to come back around. Bite you in the behind. But shout out to Freethinkers Radio. Even though I'm not there, we're going to have fun. Y'all have a good time. Got a few things I got to go do today.
Oh man.
James,
I say,
continue announcing the songs the way that you do, man. That's just so dope. It's great.
appreciate it, man.
Yes, I am. Awesome.
I might mess this next one up
But
just because you decided to be nice to me.
Straight up. Ankle bracelets for everybody.
Thank you. That's it. But this is Freethinkers Radio. Feel free to think freely. I got to go.
Thanks,
That was
Ice.
perfect. That was perfect. Wow. That's crazy. Yo, I bet you that man wish he wasn't in that house no more. Just saying. He wish he wasn't in there. This next song is called If You Ain't In It.
Got it.
That's just talent. Ice. We're going to holler at you, bro.
I
bro.
say.
hi, Ice.
Peace.
That was great.
All right, peace.
That was great. Oh my goodness.
That was amazing.
I didn't think that one was that good. It worked.
It did,
It worked.
Dude.
Ankle bracelet though. That is hilarious. He was trying to get away from the wife. He was okay with going to jail.
Right.
And they gave that man house arrest. That is amazing.
I want to know who the judge was. That judge was so
For how
disrespectful.
long?
And that judge had to be. It had to be a woman. I'm sorry.
And oh, you don't like her? You don't like her? All right.
Yeah.
House
You know what?
arrest.
You can work out your problems at home.
Yeah, I bet you judge looked at that man and was just like, oh, I see what's happening. You know what? It was Judge Judy. Had to have been Judge Judy.
Oh man.
Judge Judy's so sweet.
I bet you he's trying to count the number of beer cans in his fridge.
Yeah, but he robbed the bank and then sat there and waited for them to come pick him up, though. That's how serious it was. He said,
Please
y'all can
catch
come
me.
anytime. I'm out here.
He tried to Uber a getaway car.
We're back.
Oh, good.
Hey, y'all.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, y'all just threw my whole Oh, my goodness. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, but definitely, but as far as the 3/5 comment, that's what that is.
Well,
that's
I was gonna say to correct what I was saying. Regardless of the 3/5 compromise, or not regardless, but like aside from that,
Right.
I guess the issue would be there was no. I mean, like you said, everybody else who came to the country hopped on entrepreneurship, like you said, pretty much as soon as they got off the boat. But black people didn't have that opportunity.
No.
in a sense.
They came as the
I
product.
mean,
Go see
exactly.
work.
We were the product. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Black folk were the product. And so when you come off the boat to make the work, you know what I'm saying? When you come off the boat with the intention of, okay, because they said so, I have to, make and produce whatever. You don't know what entrepreneurship is. I mean, like, they made sure education wasn't necessarily something that we had, black people had for a long time.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think that's where, you said entrepreneurship showed up kind of late. That's why, because it wasn't until God knows how many generations later before the opportunity to actually be an entrepreneur actually showed up.
I'm not sure though, because I'm pretty sure even when in their spare, what you call the spare time or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure somebody traded an apple for a pear.
True.
Somebody traded a pork skin for you see what I'm saying?
made fried
That's called bartering. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of
capitalism.
that's called capitalism. When you're bartering,
Yeah.
that's capitalism.
So do you think
so
that-
they had the opportunity to get. I just think that they and some of us were just programmed.
You know what? I was just thinking
exactly.
that. I was just
That's what I was
thinking
thinking.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
was saying like of course that's bartering, but that's between people on the same level.
Right.
They weren't taught to barter with people that can provide the whole tree.
Yeah, they were taught to take a raw deal from. And think about it though, that was that had worked for the U.S. government. Just think about it. When you talk about the Trail of Tears, what happened in Nashville? They didn't take the deal, right? What happened in Georgia? They wouldn't take the deal. What happened to the Seminoles? They wouldn't take the deal. You know what I'm saying? What happened going out toward Missouri and all? They wouldn't take the deal. So what happened? Okay, y'all won't take the deal.
Wiped out.
You know what I'm saying? Here comes the army.
And see,
You see what I'm saying?
falls into force or fraud.
It
You
is.
know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Those two things tamper with any kind of free market economy.
I mean, and you got to think about it, but then again, where did they get the idea? I mean, you got to think about this. The slaves that were sold by those African leaders, did they know the value of those people? Because look what we built. I'm not saying that we built it by ourselves. I'm not saying black people built this by ourselves. I'm saying that
The question is, did they
What's
care about the value of these people?
well, I mean, when you think about this, they wish they had in America right now, right?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It was built, you know what I'm saying, on with that kind of labor. You're talking about the labor forces other than the cotton fields. Where else was this going on? Asia, right? In the
fields.
Right?
Rice
fields, right. So you see what I'm saying? So you're talking about the lowest labor cost you could have in business. How important is payroll?
Really important.
You see what I'm saying?
So
That's how we hop skipped everybody for truthfully if you think about it.
Well, I think that would also. This is also a really good tie-in to our first episode as well. When we're talking about business practices, we're all free to make good or bad or wise or unwise business decisions or business strategies. Without disrespecting the people that came before us. I think education plays into a large part of our perspective on what is a good deal and what is maybe a long-term unwise deal to make. You think about if we're using the Africa paradigm of like the African leaders selling off their own to go overseas, they were probably thinking, I've got money in my hand right now. That's all that matters to me.
Right.
Now look at it long term. I think it's a matter of perspective. And so in the same way, business people of all walks of life are free to make good or bad, wise or unwise decisions.
Right.
I think a lot of it comes down to what kind of strategy it is. And I think strategy is determined a lot of times by education. How can you expect, how can you go where you've never been shown what's possible?
Right.
Right.
That's true.
Your imagination is at some point becomes limited by what you don't know.
Exactly.
And what you're unable to find out.
Right.
The glass ceiling.
Whether that's prevented because of force or fraud, or just a matter of not having access to education.
Right.
I think that's a lot of what we're seeing today is maybe like a lot of people it's just snowballing, and it's not just and don't think it's just the black community. I mean, it's everywhere. Look at all these, the printing industry. The printing industry is wiped out.
Right.
It's and I'm a writer and photographer. That's most of I could have had an easy living, of 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I could have had, and then 5 years later, I'd have been out of a job,
Right.
in extreme amounts of debt. So, a lot of it is just, it's perspective, I think.
So how do we change that perspective?
Education, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about education, we talk about school education, or we just talk about exposure.
So I think it's insight. Yeah, I think education is a huge part, but also I think business leaders are a great example. Artists are also a great example. I mean, people that will inspire you and paint the picture for what's ahead. Like who would have dreamed of ever having like the Tesla, the underground tube that's going to go from San Francisco to LA or whatever.
Nuts.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it came from somewhere.
Right.
I think it's knowledge and application. It's two parts. So often in school we've been taught the knowledge-based stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We hardly ever get taught the application of it.
Right.
And it's just like discipleship. You can teach someone the word all the time, but until they learn how to apply it to their life, it's null and void.
Absolutely. I would think and that's one of those things that gets kind of rough because by right, you have to get the information. They don't have to by American citizenry right. They don't have to show you how to use it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
I would also
they have to tell you 1 + 1 is 2. They don't have to tell you what to do with it.
I would also say the flip side of knowledge is not being told you can't do something. Nobody told us we couldn't do Freethinkers Radio. Nobody told us we couldn't do a network.
Mm-hmm.
We just started doing stuff, and I mean it took work.
Yeah,
but
it took work.
We did it because nobody had told us we couldn't. So even the fact of knowledge, it depends where you get your knowledge from. Because some people gonna tell you as much as they know.
Exactly.
Well, and that's also why your freedom's important. You need to have
Absolutely.
as few restrictions as possible to be able to do whatever you want.
That's a libertarian.
I think more schools too should implement. We did a show about a school. I think it was in Virginia or Baltimore or something where they have an actual bank on the campus,
right?
And they allowed their students to run the bank. So they're teaching them about money and how to handle money and how to be business minded. So they're getting the hands on and the knowledge. And I think more schools should try to implement something like that within their school system.
I had a conversation with a guy. He's completing his doctorate in education, and he said, in history,
keep rolling.
Okay, in history, that the education system wasn't built for you to learn the business of anything. It was teach you how to be employed by businesses.
Right. Absolutely. That's the purpose of public school education, is to make sure you have a great workforce. Right.
So you don't own nothing.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have a great workforce. Like somebody has to work for whoever opens
the way the school system. Oh, go ahead and introduce your song first. Samson.
You guys are cutting it close there. Cutting it real close. And this song's called Close by Marvin Sapp.
He does this for a living. But absolutely, James does this for a living.
That's the way the school system's designed for us to be used to 9 to 5.
Right.
Absolutely. Teach you how to show up on time.
8 o'clock to 3:30.
No, that's the issue. That's the issue right there.
This is something that frustrates me personally because I come from a family, you know what I'm saying, like, that's predominantly filled with women.
Mm-hmm.
And with the few men in my family, myself and my cousin, who's like 6 months younger than I am, they were looking at us to be the first men in our family to go to college.
Wow.
And he went and he graduated from the Citadel. But for me, just the idea of school and the way the school system is set up, I can't function that way. Like, I'm about to go nuts with my day job right now, so I know I couldn't be in college right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So there's something has to change with the way the school system functions to help with this whole.
Well, they have different schools.
Yeah.
There's some schools that really focus on vocational a little more.
Right.
And we're here. This is Hustling Backwards with Mr. Dave Pendergrass.
Oh, man, look, I'm just going to try to throw everything in. Let me tell you something. I done let a whole lot of stuff go, right? Because we hadn't had a chance, right? So I was like, we ain't going to say nothing about Ben Carson. You know what I'm saying? We ain't going to say nothing about, you see what I'm saying? We skipped a whole lot of stuff. We skipped some Jeff Sessions stuff. We skipped a lot of this stuff. But I'm going to tell you today, happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth to everybody. on Juneteenth is when Texas announced that it had finally abolished slavery. Now understand, this is not Juneteenth of 1865 or when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. None of this. This is way after. This is 2, 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. After. I think maybe 3 or 4 years after. Was it 5? 5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. Now that means that, of course, when we say, look, all these people that fought for your freedom. No, they didn't fight for their freedom. Because at the end of the day, the Northerners that were they fighting to free slaves?
No.
Exactly. Were the Southerners fighting for their slaves?
No.
They owned no slaves. So all the Civil War actually it did not end slavery. It showed that we were willing to shoot at each other for stupid reasons over other people's stuff. That's all the Civil War meant. It meant that we were willing to shoot at each other for stuff that ain't even belong to us. You understand what I'm saying? That the Southerners in the war were fighting for neighbors who had slaves, or not really neighbors, the people in the subdivision or whatever you call it. You know what I mean? Where they can afford to own 9 people. Right. These people can barely feed their 2 children, but they're on a battlefield, right, fighting because someone told them this is the way, rebel way, states' rights. Okay, well, states' rights is the reason that that 5 years after slavery was abolished in the United States, finally Texas abolished slavery. How does you understand where we're living here? And then in 2017 on Juneteenth, here last Friday, we have a person like Donald Trump saying that he wants to get Assata Shakur sent back to America.
And Cuba said,
with everything that she stands for, as far as the uplifting of a certain, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, while I'm just thrown off by that, I also understand that Obama didn't pardon Assata Shakur.
I will say, shout out to Cuba. That said, that is out of the question.
Right, and you know why Cuba can say that? Because they can back it up. And at some point, I think every community at some point needs to get to the part where they demand respect from each other. At some point, that's when we're going to not be colorblind, but we can at least not use that as a level upper. You see what I'm saying? That's not a leveling device. Color, race is not a leveling device. And the only way you know that is if I walk up on Elliot.
He ain't crazy.
You know what I mean? As if, what I'm saying, man, I'm black, I'm a thug. I'm gonna show you, and then you gonna show me. Yeah, I'm bigger than you, though. You know what I'm saying? You can take that color back with you. That's when I think we're gonna start seeing eye to eye, and it has to happen soon. I'm just being real. Until then, we are always gonna be hustling backwards. I don't even know.
And we're back.
We're back.
Words. Dave went the whole 9 with that one.
We go the whole 9.
And that song was called "The Whole 9" by Flame and Mike Real.
I want to hear more from Cornelia here. Brother, he has been listening just intently. I'm seeing him just perk up.
Well, I think we're trying to eat the whole elephant all at once, and it took a lot of time to get here where we are, and a couple of great conversation. Education is a key element, and acquiring it all on our own. But there's also the possibility of partnering in with education and using some of the greed that could be good to help us move forward faster.
Absolutely.
Because we did start behind. The gun went off, and we're still stuck in the gate.
Right.
But being able to partner with other people and being able to avoid the fraud, but be able to utilize the greed and turn it to your favor. And partner with non-fraudulent, but and acquire education also important. But the other thought is actually breaking it down to every individual and thinking about in the community about the inflows and the intake and the spending. What can I change, and rather than fix the whole problem?
Right.
What can I change now? To redirect some of that flow within the community. What's one thing that I can do? And then you ask about another thing, and you take steps, and it builds on itself, and it'll encourage itself, it'll educate itself, you'll partner.
Absolutely.
And the greed will be your friend.
I think I like what you said about when you said take the greed and turn it in your favor. Because at the end of the day, if you think about it, we're all supposed to be lenders, not borrowers, correct? That's all of us here? Okay, well, here's the thing. Well, we need to also respect others as the same, right? When you go to a bank, you don't go to a bank without a business plan and ask for money. And in that business plan, you say how it benefits them. Right?
Exactly.
How it benefits you isn't in your business plan. All of the ways that your business benefits you is not in the business plan. All the ways that it benefits them is. And I think if we start, that's how we start building better partnerships. That's how we start doing things in a better way. Even when we're talking about some of the people who are so woke, but with their wokeness, you are causing social division. You're causing us to have a social capital problem with certain groups.
How you woke and don't own nothing? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you woke up. You know what I'm saying? Well, and that's the thing, because if you spend all of your woke time talking about how we got here, you never talk about how you can benefit that system
solution,
and therefore partner with that system to take advantage of their greed. Because if nothing else, they may hate you. They may hate you. Yeah, they hate a lot of people. They hate I'm pretty sure they hated Tupac. They got his money.
Mm-hmm.
They hated Prince. They got his money.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You name it. They took advantage of the opportunities there, especially in the entertainment business. They show you what they're looking at. Dude, how can you benefit us? Okay, they benefited in many ways. They dressed the way they wanted to dress. They drove what they drove. They lived how they lived as performers, and they did that in exchange for getting a deal. The deal was, we get this much of everything you bring in.
Right.
Now you can do with that how it benefits you. You go ahead and take that with you. But because we're going to give you the opportunity to benefit off this, we take this percentage. Okay. Well, the early music contracts did not work well for those artists because they did not at all think about that on that level. You know what I'm saying? What are you getting? And what am I getting? They didn't think about that. They said, oh, you're going to give me an opportunity to play my music in front of a bunch of people? Oh, man, what are I saying?
This is it.
We didn't talk about the fact that, the Andes are going to sell for, at that time, what, $5 a record?
Yeah, we ain't talking about ownership.
We're not talking about a million records at $5. We're not talking about a million records at $5 a piece. And how much of that is yours?
Watch out for them record deals.
That's not what they thought about. They just wanted to play in front of a big crowd. And for them, the thrill of that was worth the whole contract.
Exactly.
And now we know better.
Exactly.
And if you know better, you do better.
That's how
right?
Well, I would say also from a local level, if you see communities that, like, for instance, on Beltline right now, they don't have a grocery store. There is no grocery store in almost a 5-mile radius. That's becoming what they call a food desert. You start getting local farm markets to come into that area to sell fresh produce. You start getting meat markets to come into that area and sell. Now you have a community that's building off of people that usually are from that community that own these things.
Right. Because there's Belvedere, there's 3 apartment complexes over there.
Colonies.
I'm gonna tell you this: if 4 doggone minority-owned nightclubs open up before that doggone grocery store,
I got a problem.
That just lets you know why we're in the situation we're in.
Yeah.
There is a fully built grocery store sitting there, but go buy it.
That's empty.
It's empty. Go buy it.
Matter of fact,
the shelves are still in there.
It's a hustle mentality.
Yeah, the shelves are still in there. They wrote in the newspaper how they are actually starting to push for more urban farming. Almost, they're pushing for urbanized farming, which means people could just farm in your backyard and sell it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's great. Except for a lot of people in urban areas live in apartments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not many people own their house. And if they do own their house, usually they haven't taken care of the yard good enough to actually plant.
That sounded like such a good idea, and then immediately it was just like.
Well, at the same time, I mean, that even goes back.
That's probably how a lot of people feel, though, too.
Yeah.
Right. That even goes back to even like someone opening an independently owned grocery store on that street, on that road.
Right.
Are the people going to support them? Because, the first thing they say, I'm not buying my groceries from there. I'm going to Food Line. Yeah. I'm going to buy them.
They'll go to One Love right across the street and buy everything else they want. Just saying.
Me and you would
support it.
Dave, me and you were talking about it, how we got to teach people to appreciate what's in their communities. If you were telling me how if you get them to someone invest into it and build something in it, they'll appreciate it that way.
Right. Also, it's important to realize, business world, it is cutthroat.
It is.
And like altruism cannot exist in a business world for very long. Altruism being like you do something because it's good, because like you sacrifice, you harm yourself to help other people. That's why greed is such an important thing with like capitalism, because you're trying to earn for yourself. If you're trying to earn for yourself, that money's going to go other places. You're going to want to get other people involved. When you're trying to do stuff because you're just trying to make a charity case out of something, like if you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna pay $4 more a gallon because I want to help out this guy, because I want to help out my community for, independent gas stations or something, whatever.
Right.
You're
With
gonna
that
go,
high overhead.
You're gonna go broke. You're gonna go broke, and eventually this guy will go broke too because people aren't stupid. They're gonna want the best deal for themselves.
Absolutely.
I
was gonna
people
say
are
that.
selfish. It's self-interest,
And
That's
the
all it is.
atmosphere needs to line up. Yeah, think about it. The Piggly Wiggly that left out of there wasn't that great.
Yeah, it wasn't a great.
But you're gonna have to meet those standards or exceed them. Because you did not want to buy no meat out of that.
Well,
Piggly Wiggly.
and the question
But
is why
you're still gonna have to.
we know the Piggly Wigglies went belly up, but how was it? How was it before that though?
You talking about Piggly Wiggly?
Yeah, before it, Piggly Wiggly completely shut down.
10 years ago, that meat was stinking.
What were the numbers like? If it was a failing business in that community, do you really want to go and be the one to throw a business back in there?
Oh, they had safety and health defect problems, and things like that. But as far as you understand, you're the only
I think that's
grocery store
Piggly Wiggly across the board, though.
within walking. Right, but yeah, it's like walking distance to like 5 apartment complexes.
Yeah, it's about.
You see what I'm saying?
It's almost about 1,200 people to 300.
Most of them on Snap, so they're just
IGAs have a good reputation of going where a grocery store may have moved out of the area or had to shut down and going back in and planning their facilities.
Very smart.
They just did it in Winsboro. They took the food line shut down. They went in there several months later, opened up the KJ's IGA, and it's booming.
Beautiful, and that's a smart idea. We need to write that down. Free to think freely.
Really?
James, go ahead.
I'm trying real hard to hold it together, guys. Trying real hard. This song is called Hold Me Together, a Young Saint featuring Chandler Moore.
And this is the feature song of the night.
You're just all purpose dude, man. What do you do?
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, that's real though. And I think we went a long way around to get to there. The mentality to open that grocery store isn't even there. You see what I'm saying? The mentality to open that grocery store is not there, but the mentality to open a nightclub like on the outskirts by Harbison is there.
Yeah.
How, Sway? How?
Because they see dollar signs with nightclubs as opposed to food.
It ain't your beauty, it's your booty.
The turnover. I mean, the overhead of a nightclub with alcohol prices and everything like that, because you can't just, you're not able to really get in bulk unless you're really getting in bulk.
Right.
Turn up.
You know what I'm saying? And then they do try to spice. They try to add some water to the drink. But I'm just saying, I've worked in the nightclub. That overhead is very high. You know what I'm saying? So to say that you open up a club and you're rich, no, you have a better chance of making your overhead with a gas station. I mean, a gas station.
It's about what it looks like.
Sure.
I look like I'm balling.
Big shot calling 20-inch plays.
And does the overhead, does it compare to all the products you would have to invest in your grocery store?
Right. And how much does security cost when you start letting 500 people into a building, into a hot building? Because how much the air conditioning costs to heat a place with 500 people dancing in close, spaces and things like that. I mean, this is just a great. I'm sorry. It's just a lot that goes into it. And I think I will be so happy when we start thinking along those lines, even in our own households. I have to do this. I have to do the same thing in my household. So, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Where is the people that rise to the top? Where are those people? And why do they make the decisions they make as far as going to get into wasteful industries instead of getting into necessity industries?
I think it fits the majority of the American persona, and it's live for the now. Don't worry about the future.
Yeah.
YOLO.
I get it.
Yeah, that's it.
Shouts out everybody to everybody who has an Android phone, because Appy Pie finally came up off that thing and got us right.
You can get the app now.
Shouts out to them guys.
That app's free.
I might not ever say their name again because they just made me so
Pamela
upset with
said that the overhead is high, but the money is fast. And
Right.
It's unfortunate.
But it don't last as long because you got to think about it.
They
The average
think about
nightclub,
long-term.
only lasts about 5 years.
Yeah, because
If
because the low cash days are devastating.
They last that long?
If that.
This ain't a beach.
Oh yeah. So check us out. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, everything like that. Freethinkers Radio, iTunes Podcast, Google Play Podcast. We'd like to thank, yes sir, Brother David Strum. Thank you. Got it. Thank you, Brother David Strum from Koinonia.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that before we get out of there.
But koinonia is a Greek word for community, and it's based on metanoia, which has been planted in North Charleston for about 15 years.
Okay.
It's an asset-based, community-driven improvement initiative that focuses on identifying assets that are in the community, okay, and linking them to needs in the community, and slowly that would grow over time. My wife and I started that. We have a few other board members. It's centered in Eau Claire, right on North Main.
North Main, I like that street.
And we're partnered with a church there that has a big facility, which is a lot of space,
right, that
they've partnered and shared with us without cost, so no overhead.
Wow, that's all right.
And this church has been serving the community for more than 50 years. I think it's celebrating its 90-year anniversary soon.
Wow!
But our goal is really to empower people in the community to listen to the community leaders, to identify those assets and try and grow and continue to build economic opportunities, to provide safe educational places for children to grow and learn,
right, and
then also to provide opportunities for other youth and high school age people to develop skills and have other and to grow other opportunities. So we're still we've just started.
Okay.
We have a 8-week summer program going on now.
Okay.
With K-5 to 12-year-olds, where we're providing education, some Bible lessons, but also technical education, reading, writing, math, playtime. But we're also looking to have strategic listening opportunities with other leaders in the community to talk about projects like this grocery store. And it's interesting when you talk about the grocery store. The founder of Metanoia in North Charleston, that was an issue that they also had, and that community wanted a grocery store and didn't have the skills to pull together and actually to put one in place.
What did they end up doing?
They're still in the process, trying to identify and get the skills that they need to deliver that service to.
So if you have skills, so that's in the Charleston area, you said?
Yeah, North Charleston.
North Charleston area needs you, and in Columbia. Where do they go? There's got to be a website or something, because this sounds like y'all got everything going on, man.
Our website is koinoniaofcolumbia.org.
koinoniaofcolumbia.org. Anybody know how to spell that?
Yeah, spell that.
Okay, we're gonna put that in the we're gonna put that link in the comments. All right, Jay Will's doing it now.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Thank y'all for tuning in. Oh, wait a second. Thank you, brother Shonte Darby. Huh? Hey. Shonte Darby actually is gonna be doing some of our intro music, right?
Yes,
they're working on it now. They're working on intro music for Urban City. He already has done intro music for Stop the Silence.
That's
when you hear
correct.
Stop. Yeah, that's Ebony and Shonte. I think the echo of Shonte and like the original Stop, I think, was Ebony.
I mean, what was that all about?
I'm just saying, what I'm saying? It's like a collab. Like
It was a collab.
It was a collab. Steph and Clay, y'all the Splash like brother and sister.
Oh, okay. I don't know who that is.
You don't know who that is?
I don't.
I didn't think so.
It's a good working relationship.
There we go.
Thank you, Shonte.
Well, tell us about some of the other stuff you got coming on. I know Life of a Producer.
Life of a Producer, www. People don't put www no more. Anyway, but lifeofproducer.com is my vlog series. If you want to, the purpose of it is to show the behind the scenes of what a producer goes through when they're making these songs and stuff like that, and even the personal life of expectancy and stuff. So go check it out, lifeofproducer.com as well. STD Music Productions is definitely moving forward. Definitely have Chris Darnell working on his single that is coming out soon. Good enough. Word of God just produced a project, and I was a part of that as well.
Okay.
And some other things. So stay tuned.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Absolutely. And that's all for the day. That's all for the day. And thank you again. We you know, you family,
you
but
for
you don't be
being
here.
here.
You don't be here all the time.
I'm glad I could be here tonight.
There we go. And he brought the beard and the George
W.
Bush all in the same session.
Oh man!
Straight up.
Shouts out to W.
Absolutely. We always enjoy
It's
it.
huge.
We always enjoy the favorite libertarian over there.
Holla, holla, holla.
Okay.
DJ James on the ones and twos. Jay Will. We gonna find new. You know, we need a new nickname for Jay Will. He's been Jay Will too long. It's time for a new thing. You know, even Puff Daddy became Diddy.
Yeah.
Right? We gotta find a new name for you.
Ja Will.
Ja Will.
I don't know, man. He already cut his dreads. He already cut his dreads. He ain't really got no Rastafarian roots, right?
Yeah, you did cut your roots. I mean, you cut your bread, your dreads and all that kind of stuff, man. You just
We can't go the
cut
Rastafarian
your roots
route.
straight off. We had to take your card, drop your card off at the barbershop.
Not
Yeah.
Oh man.
So this is how we gonna end. This is how
Yeah, we getting out of here, huh?
This is how we do it.
Yeah.
This is how we going out. Yeah.
They going down the line right now.
We should go. We should go middle name. Go by the middle name.
What's your middle name, Jay?
Nope.
Jay Nope Wilson.
Insider information.
You know that
Yeah.
fits.
They gon- Oh, Jay Willie. Shouts out to Sarah Robertson, who was votes for Jay Willie. Oh. Absolutely. We getting out of here on that note.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Appreciate y'all
Thank
Facebook.
y'all for
We,
tuning in.
Peace.